how we can improve efficiency, which means we save cost without having to reduce the cost of our suppliers. First of all, about myself. I'm originally from Germany, and I've been in freight forwarding and logistics for 35 years. I'm currently based in Bangkok. I've been based in Bangkok since 1990. And I've traveled Cambodia since 1992 on logistics business. And I travel the whole region, Southeast Asia. I've been teaching at university since after I finished my MBA, and I also opened my own logistics company then. So what I'm doing is I'm explaining things from the theoretical side, from the academic side, and then say how we implement this, how we use this in practice in everyday life, which is not always the same. These are the subjects we will go through today. First, we will find out what inventory types there are and how we measure inventory. Then we will talk about inventory policies, inventory costs, and then we will make an ABC analysis. And then we put all this together and see how we can reduce cost by just being smart about how we manage our inventory. Nobody has money to throw away. We need to save costs, but we also need to provide best service. Okay, let's get started. First, we want to find out what is inventory and how do we measure this? What is inventory? Does anybody know? Just shoot a message, right? Let us know by chat what is inventory. So, what ideas can you come up with? What is inventory? You know what stock is, right? We keep stock, right? What is stock? Stock is what we have in our warehouse. If we talk about a factory, that would be raw materials or components in the warehouse for the raw materials, and the finished products in the warehouse for the finished products. In between, we have work in process. So let's say we are a furniture company and we produce chairs. We have backrests, we have seats, we have leg assemblies. The raw materials, maybe the backrests, the seats, we buy from our suppliers. The moment we start production, we put the seat and the backrest together, it's not raw material anymore. Now it's work in process. So we have three types of raw material, of inventory: raw materials, work in process, and finished products. Does that make sense? If you have questions, please always put something into the chat box. Now this will be relayed to me, and then I will answer to that. We can also categorize inventory types based on usage. Cycle stock is the inventory we need for running the business. So we need these backrests, we need these seats, we need the leg assemblies in order to produce the chair, to have the finished chairs, and to sell them to the customers. Safety stock is extra stock that will protect us from stockouts. We will go to that in a moment. And then we have anticipation inventory. When we anticipate a big demand increase, for example, there is a rock concert going on, and we expect that everybody wants to drink a lot of Coca-Cola during the rock concert, then we already build up more inventory, we have more stock of this product, because there will be high demand during that evening. If we are a company that produces umbrellas, then we expect a high demand in the rainy season. So before the rainy season starts, we have already a lot of anticipation inventory. And then we have pipeline inventory. When we order something from our supplier, we don't have it yet, but we know it will come. It will arrive tomorrow. It will arrive next week. I had a customer, when anybody went into the warehouse and he saw that something is missing, they were out of stock of one component, they placed an order with a supplier. Seemed to make sense, but today somebody went into the warehouse and found something is missing, placed an order, and it takes a week until the goods arrive. So tomorrow, somebody else goes into the warehouse and orders the same thing. So they had this problem that sometimes they had stockouts, and on other times they had too much inventory. So we need to manage the inventory. What does inventory management mean? We have some inventory managers here, right? You have an idea about inventory management, but what does that mean? Do you have any ideas about that? Okay, I give you a clue. Inventory management is managing the constant flow of goods into and out of existing inventory. That's pretty clear. This is what we are doing, right? So the goods come into the inventory, come into the company, come into our warehouse. When we are a trading company, the same goods that come into the warehouse will leave the warehouse again. Unlike a factory, raw material comes in, they're being modified, and then finished products leave, right? But the inventory management principle is the same. We have to manage the flow of the goods. And when you look at some companies, or many companies, inventory is a major asset, meaning the value of the inventory is very high compared to the total assets or the value that the company has. Maybe the building is rented, the office is rented, and they don't need expensive machines, but they have a lot of stock, be it a trading company, be it a humanitarian relief organization that has to store goods and then hand it over to the beneficiaries. That's a lot of money there, right? So that's why we want to handle it correctly. So this is what today's afternoon is about. A stock keeping unit, this is a vocabulary that we need to know. A stock keeping unit, or an SKU, we call it an SKU, is a line item in the warehouse. A line item in the warehouse does not mean it's a piece we have in the warehouse, but it's one line in our stock report. So for example, if I have 3 different kinds of chairs, I have 3 SKUs, but each kind of chair I can have hundreds. Like I have 100 chairs with armrests, and I have 100 chairs without armrests, and 100 chairs that are not office chairs but restaurant chairs. So I have 3 line items, but I have maybe 500 chairs in the warehouse. Does it make sense? So an SKU can be raw material component if I'm a factory and this is my raw material warehouse. It can be a finished product. In my factory, the warehouse for the finished products. In the trading company deals with finished products only. Yes, but if I have hundreds of pieces, hundreds of units in my warehouse, I may have only 5 or 10 SKUs. These SKUs have code numbers, we call them SKU numbers, and that is mainly for easy handling by computer. So you all know SKU numbers. when you order something online or from a catalog, you have a catalog number or an article number. This is the SKU number. We can also use the barcode. You know, every item has a barcode. I'm holding in my hand a pen. It has the barcode 9560069065997, right? This barcode I can use as my SKU number in the warehouse. This way I can categorize all my inventory very easily, and I can see how many of which unit I have on hand. And then we want to measure our inventory. Why do we want to measure our inventory? Why do we want to measure our inventory? We want to measure our inventory because we need some kind of measurement in order to know whether we are good or not. We want to improve. You probably heard about continuous improvement. How do we know if we are improving if we don't measure? So these two measures here are internationally the standard: weeks of supply and inventory turnover. We are not going through the formulas here, just to know that inventory is measurable. Do we have too much? If we have too much, we will have too much costs. We see that in a moment. And if we have too little, obviously we will run out of stock, which is also very expensive. Let's come to inventory policies. Inventory policies are how we manage our inventory with regards to reordering. This is the inventory order cycle. On the left-hand side, can you see my cursor? Can you see my cursor here, my mouse? Yeah, can you see my mouse here? Okay, so on the left-hand side, we see that a new order has just come in. The quantity is at maximum. And then we have the demand rate. It means how much is used per day. Example, a trading company sells so many chairs per day. The factory has customers that buy so many chairs a day. So the quantity on hand reduces continuously until it is at zero. You see the 0 point where the sloped line is at the bottom, right? And then we will receive the new order. The trading company receives the new order from their supplier, and it goes up to the maximum again. Then it goes down again. So this is the order cycle. It's always the same, right? One thing we need to know is that we have a lead time. When we order some chairs or some backrests, raw material from our supplier, we do not order them now and get them now. That's not the case. Maybe we place an order and we have to wait 2 weeks until we receive the goods. Yeah, the lead time is how long before we receive the goods we have to place the order. Or the other way around, if we place the order now, how long does it take until we receive the goods? So now the order cycle looks, the order cycle looks like this, right? On the left-hand side, we have the new order coming in, and then we have the demand rate and the stock on hand, the inventory we have in our warehouse reduces until zero. But that is when we need to receive the order. We go back by the lead time, let's say 2 weeks, and that's when we have to place the order. If you go the dotted line up, then we can go to the left and see the reorder point. So maybe the reorder point says we still have 52 backrests on hand, but we need to place the order now so that we receive the other backrests when our warehouse is empty. Yeah, that is the lead time. We need to know that because if we only starting to order when we see the warehouse is empty, then we will run out of stock, and that is costly. So the reorder point tells us how many products we still have on hand when we need to place our order. And there is a formula for that. This can be calculated depending on how long the lead time is and how many units we use per day. So now the first order cycle I showed you, that's not reality, and you know that. The customers don't buy 100 chairs every month or buy 3 chairs every day. Something like that doesn't happen. On some days they buy more, on some days they buy less. Yeah, so it's not a straight line. It's like this line is rugged, right? It's a rugged line. And what happens at the bottom, maybe in the first period that we see here, it does not reach 0. So we received a new order when our warehouse is still not empty. We still have some, let's say, some finished products left. The customers haven't bought everything, but we already received a new order. This can happen. And then the next month, you see the rugged line going down, 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 and then reaching 0 and going below 0. Oh my God! Yeah, we don't have enough product. If our inventory is below 0, that's not possible. That's not possible. We cannot have less than 0 chairs in our warehouse. That means we have a stock out. We don't want a stock out, right? So what we do is we introduce safety stock. You have heard of safety stock. Some books call it buffer stock. So we have more stock on hand than we think we need. If we always have an average demand of 100, according to forecast, we sell 100 chairs per month. We never really sell 100 chairs per month. Some months we sell 95, and other chairs we sell 105. So what we want to have is we want to have 5 extra chairs in case we sell 105. But if the demand changes between 80 and 120, right? Some months is 80, some months is 90, then it's 110, 120, 95, right? It moves between 80 and 120. Then we need more safety stock. Then we have to have 20 chairs in safety stock just in case demand will rise up to that. Yes, so we need more stock than we think we need according to the forecast. There's a formula for that, we can calculate it. And this is what it looks like. This is the same rugged demand as we had before. Yes, in the first month, when we start from the left, the stock on hand does not go to 0. We receive the new order in, and then the demand is more. It dips down, but now we are not out of stock. We expected to sell 100, but now we sell 105. We have safety stock, so we give them the chairs from our safety stock, and we don't run out of stock, and everybody is happy. Yes? So our inventory policies, we have different choices. I just summarize this subchapter now because we need to go on. Reorder point, we have to place another order when we still have 57 backrests on hand. Or we do something else. We place orders every Monday, or we place orders every 1st of the month. Most of you probably do that. Now this is called periodic replenishment. And there are also other inventory policies. Continuous replenishment means we look every day, how many units do we still have on stock? If you have expensive stock, for example, you're in the watch business, you're a watch or jewelry shop, you will check every day how many you still have in stock. And the others we are not going into today. Inventory costs, this is what we want to know. What are our costs in inventory? What are our costs? We have 4 standard cost components, and let me go through these. Purchase cost is how much the actual goods cost. If we're a trading company, we buy chairs, we sell chairs, then how much do we pay for the chairs? If we are a factory, how much do we pay for the components, for the backrest, for the seats? Then are the ordering costs, the cost that we have to place one order. I will go through all four of them in more detail in a moment. And then we have holding cost. How much does it cost us to actually keep the goods in stock? And then shortage cost, what happens when we have a stock out? So our total relevant costs are purchase cost plus order cost plus holding cost plus shortage cost. What we want to do is we want to reduce the total relevant cost. Now, let me explain this to you. The purchase costs are the price of the goods. That is relatively easy. How much do we pay for one backrest if we are a furniture factory? How much do we pay for one chair if we are a trading company? The ordering costs are costs that we have every time we place an order. Example, when I place an order, maybe I have administrative costs, meaning somebody has to fill in the purchase order form. Somebody has to follow up with a supplier, and maybe we have to pick up the goods, cost us transportation for one truck. Never mind whether we order one chair or we order 10,000 chairs. Yeah. So assuming our ordering cost is $500. If we order one chair, that's $500 for a chair. If we order 10,000 chairs, that's 50 cents per chair. Yeah, you get the point. Per order, never mind how big the order is, we have certain cost. The next kind of cost is the holding cost. Some books call it carrying cost. Just to have goods in stock will cost us money. First of all, we have the cost of capital. This is for the accounting people. Then we have the physical storage cost in our warehouse. Maybe you say, oh, it doesn't cost us anything. It does cost us money, but if it's easier to understand if we say we use a warehousing company. If we use a warehousing company, maybe we have to pay per cubic meter, or we pay per chair per day. Yes, so the more chairs we have in stock, the higher our cost. Then we have deterioration, breakage, loss, obsolescence. These are costs that occur when goods are in the warehouse. Imagine a chair with a nice, soft backrest. Yeah, we keep it in the warehouse. 1 month later, the backrest is still nice and soft. 1 year later, is it still nice and soft? Maybe. 10 years later, no. So it deteriorated. The longer we keep goods on stock, the less the quality is, and at the end we cannot sell it anymore. Then we have obsolescence. Obsolescence means we have goods in stock, and maybe we bought a lot because we got a very special price. But now, this model chair is so outdated, nobody wants to buy it anymore. Nobody wants to buy it anymore. I had a customer, he's a supplier into the car industry, and they made some plastic parts for one particular kind of car. And then the car company told them they will discontinue this model because the customers don't buy it, so they won't produce it anymore. He says, I have all these plastic parts. I can't do anything else with them. Yeah, bad luck. That's obsolescence. So you keep it on stock and then suddenly nobody wants it anymore. That's cost. And then, of course, we have taxes, insurance, and we have opportunity cost, meaning what else could we have done with the money? And finally, we have shortage cost. When we have no product, You can say, when we have no product, then we also don't have cost. That's not really true. When you order 100 chairs from me and I say, I can send you 80 and the other 20 I send you next month. The other 20 I put on back order. That gives me double work for invoicing, for transportation, and so I have double cost. Maybe you say, if you don't have this chair, then never mind, I buy from your competitor. I lost sales. But if you come to me one time, I say, I don't have this chair, you buy from my competitor. You come the second time, I don't have that chair either, you buy from my competitor. Third time, you don't even come to me, you go straight to my competitor. So I lose the customer. So stock out can be very expensive. Now let's put this together, and we have a problem here. Type of cost, purchase cost. The more I buy, the more chairs I buy as the trading company, the higher my purchase cost. I buy one chair, I pay $100. I buy 100 chairs, I pay $10,000, right? So that hurts. I don't want to buy too many at the same time. But then the ordering cost. If I buy one chair, my ordering cost is $500, and that's $500 per chair. If I buy 10,000 chairs, my ordering cost is 50 cents per chair. So I want to order many. Okay, there's a problem. Holding cost, the more I have on hand, the more holding cost I have, storage cost and so forth. But the more I have on hand, the lower the chance that I run out of stock. So here I have a conflict. What do? Some items some cost increase when I order more, other costs decrease when I order more. So we look for the lowest order quantity, or the correct order quantity at which the costs are lowest. We call this the EOQ, the economic order quantity. How many should I order so that the lowest cost occur? I just show you this graphic here. Now, if you look on the right-hand side, carrying cost. You see the more I order, the higher the carrying cost. Then you look at ordering cost. The more I order, the lower the ordering cost per unit. And same for the shortage cost. The more I order, the lower the shortage cost, because then I don't run out of stock. And if I add these costs together, you have the line on top, total cost. And this line, you can see, goes from high, goes lower, and then high again, and there is a lowest point. Yeah, and this is my EOQ, my economic order quantity. And there's a formula for that, which we don't go into right now, but we can calculate all this. Now, let's go further into how we can use this. Yeah, we categorize. What we do is we categorize our inventory. We call this an ABC analysis. You may have heard the term ABC analysis is used in many different contexts. In inventory management, we categorize our inventory into category A, B, and C. The basic is to decide what inventory is more important for us. And what is most important for us, we want to take better care of, but that will also be more expensive. Okay, I will show you. Now it's called Pareto analysis. Some of you may have heard of the 80-20 rule. The 80-20 rule means that 20% of our items account for 80% of the inventory. Originally, Pareto was a mathematician a long time ago, and he said 80% of our business is with 20% of our customers. Think about that. 20% are very important. They account for 80% of the business. In our case, 20% of all the SKUs, all the items we have on stock, account for 80% of our inventory value. We never think about this, but let's make this analysis. Let's make this analysis. So these 20%, let's say, yeah, 20%, about 20% of all the items, they account for 70 to 80% of the inventory value. We will find out in a moment what is the inventory value. B are less important, and C is the majority of all our goods. Most of our goods together, most of our SKUs together, they make up only 5% of our inventory value. I will give you an example, then you will understand this. So I have here 10 items. This is 10 SKUs. This is what I use in my inventory, right? For example, these are raw materials. These are raw materials that I use to produce the chairs. Now, item number, you can also say SKU number. Item number 1, I use 17 units, whatever that is, and each unit costs $2.50. Item number 2, I use 50, a lot more, and the price per item is $17. Item number 3, I use 15 per year, and the price of each one is $15. For item 4, 25 units cost $17 each. And item number 5, I use only 5 per year, and they also cost $17. Now for item number 6, I use 50. 50 of these items I have to use per year, and they cost $119. On the other hand, for item number 7, I use a lot. I use 153 per year, but they cost only $5. And then for item 8, I use 20 per year. Maybe I buy them in packs of 100. They cost only just over $2 per year. And item number 9 also costs just over $2 per year. Item number 10, I use 17 again, and they cost $2.50. So this is all the items I use in my warehouse. Let me see what we do with this. We calculate the annual usage. So item number 1, I use 17 per year, and each costs $2.50, so the total is $42.50. This is my annual usage. And this is my annual inventory value for this item. Yes? If you have a question, send a message, right? For item number 2, 50 units costing $17, so the annual usage is $850. Yeah, this makes sense, right? Then we have item number 6. Item number 6, 50 units, each one costing $119, so the total annual usage is $5,950. Wow. And then for number 7, where we use 153 units per year, that's a lot, but the value is only $5 per unit. The total is $765 per year. So we see, even though this is most units, because the value is lower, the total annual usage is $765 less than number 6, right? And then for 8, 9, and 10, the total annual usage is $42.50, same like unit number 1. So now what we do in the next column, percentage and total usage, we look at how much percent of the total annual usage, the total inventory value for 1 year, is each item in the warehouse. The total value for all items together is $8,470. This is 100%. And then with Excel, very easy. I made this with Excel. We can see item number 1 accounts for 0.5%, just 0.5% of the total value in the warehouse per year. Item number 2 is 10.04%, and so forth. Then we have item number 6. This is interesting, 70.25%. Wow. And item number 7, 9.03%. And then 8, 9, 10, 0.5% each. Now we sort this, okay? Now we found out each item has how many percent of our inventory value. So, and we sort this with Excel by percentage, the highest to the lowest. And the highest is item number 6. We know this already, 70.25%, followed by item number 2, 10.04%, and item number 7, 9, just over 9%. And then it goes lower, 5%, 2.661, and then 0.5 percentage point. So what we did in this step is we only sorted them by value, and then the highest to the lowest. And now we make our ABC analysis. Ha! And category A is now our item number 6, 70.25% of our inventory value is with item number 6. So what we want to do is we want to keep close control. Going back to our inventory policy, maybe we want to check the stock every day. Maybe we want to reorder every day. Whatever was used, we reorder. Yes, we have ordering cost every day for this, but the value of these goods is so high and it's so important a good for us that it's worth it. We don't want to run out of stock of these. Category B, we put items 2 and 7 together. They have together 19.07%. So we want to watch them on a regular basis. What does that mean? In some companies, maybe weekly, and other companies, monthly. We check the stock. Is everything still there? Do we have loss? Loss is when items disappear from the warehouse. Yeah, this happens with small, cheap items. You have pens in the warehouse. Yeah, you should have 1,000 pens in the warehouse. Once a year, you count and you find out you have only 998 pens. What happened to the other pens? Yeah, they got lost. They grew legs. They disappeared, right? Maybe somebody needed them. And so for class B items, we make a regular stock check every month or every week, depending on the company, and then reorder. Items number C, and here I put all other items together. 1, 3, 4, 5, 8, 9, 10, together only 10.68%. I don't check them so often, right? Maybe if these 2 pens of 1,000 are missing per year, I just write them off. I don't do anything, because anything I would do would cost me more in time and paperwork than just replacing these 2 pens. Yeah, so I have now categorized my goods into 3 categories. And what I did here, category A accounts for 70%. That's not a law. Yeah, there's a business decision. Maybe I want to put category 6 and 2 together. If we look at this, 70.25% plus 10.05 is just over 80%. Maybe I say, okay, these 2 together are category A. It's a management decision, right? Whether I want to make the threshold at 70%, 80%, 85%. Yeah, but I have most important items that I watch closely. Maybe I have a CCTV camera for these items, and I have normal items, and I have items that are not so much value in my inventory. And maybe I don't need a CCTV camera for those. Here's a real life example. They have 4,051 SKUs, and category A for them accounts for 75% of the value, which is 5% of the SKUs, or 5% of the items. Category B for them is 15% of the inventory value, accounting for 10% of the SKUs. And most items, 85% of the items, account for only 10% of the value, the inventory value per year, and they are in category C. So when we put this together, then we can see how we can reduce the total relevant cost. First of all, we need to keep in mind what are the total relevant costs. Yeah, you have purchase cost, ordering cost, holding cost, and shortage cost. We want to reduce these costs, and what we can do is we can put the goods into 3 categories, A, B, C analysis. So category A is the highest annual or yearly inventory value, which we calculate by how many of these items we use per year, multiplied by the price of these items, right? And we do that for each SKU. And then we see where's our highest value, and A, we can say 10% or 20% or 30% of the inventory value. Sorry, 70 or 80 or 90% of the inventory value. That is the most important items we have, and we take most care of these. Category B is maybe another 60% or 70%, and category C is the rest. Yeah, and category C, yes, we need these goods, maybe nuts and bolts for our furniture manufacturing, right? So if we count the nuts and bolts every day, yeah, we have to employ 2 more people and have a lot more paperwork that would increase the cost. That's not worth it. But for the high value goods, oh yes, we want to make sure maybe the lifting mechanism, you know, for these automatic chairs that can go up and down. That's very expensive stuff, and we need many per year. We want to take very good care of those. So we choose the appropriate inventory policy for each category and how much safety stock for each category. Remember, we don't want to have too much safety stock that costs us too much money, and we don't want to have too little stock because that causes stock outs, is also very expensive. And this way, we can start reducing our cost by just managing our inventory in a smart way. Does that make sense? Did you see what we did here? Now we look at the cost first for our inventory, and then we separate our inventory into 3 categories. And then we see, okay, for some items, it's worth it to have higher holding cost in order to reduce the shortage cost. For other items, we want to save more money on that. Yes? Okay, let me know what you think about this. Does that make sense? Do we have any comments? Let me know any comments. Okay, let me ask you something. Let me ask you something. What are the total relevant costs? We have 4 kinds of costs. What costs are these in inventory management? What are the holding costs? I don't know what I did here right now. Okay. Okay, here we have the total relevant cost. And the problem with the total relevant cost is when we order more, the purchase costs go up. When we order more, the ordering costs per unit go down. When we order more, the holding costs in total go up. When we order more, the shortage costs go down. So how much should we have in stock? Then we have our inventory policies. Oops, let me find them. Inventory management, and here inventory policies. Inventory policies here. Reorder point, we just look at how many do we have still in stock when we want to place another order. Yeah, so for high value or items with high inventory value, which we use a lot, maybe we want to set the reorder point a little bit higher so that we have more safety stock. Maybe we want to have a periodic replenishment. Every Monday we go into the warehouse and we look how many do we have left, how many did we use last week, and this is what we want to reorder. Maybe for the items with the high inventory value, we want to do that every day. Maybe for the category B items, we want to do that once a month. And for the category C item, we just do our yearly inventory check. How much do we have left? Every time we check the stock and we place an order, we have cost, right? But for the value items, the high value items in category A, we are willing to pay these costs because they are high value, so the percentage of the cost is not so high, and high value can also mean we need them a lot and we can run out of stock very quickly if we don't take care. Whereas for the low value items, we can have more on hand because the holding costs are not so high. And then we don't need to check them so often. We don't need to place orders so often. In my example of the different items, you saw that here these items at the bottom, the items at the bottom They have prices like $2.125. I don't buy them one by one. I buy them maybe in bulks of 100 or 1,000. Yeah, so I don't need to reorder very often. So I don't have the reorder cost so often. The ordering cost can be pretty high. Okay, I clicked something again here. Okay, do we have any questions on these items, the inventory types, inventory measures, inventory types and inventory measures? Yeah, in a factory, I have raw materials or components, I have work in process, and I have finished products. In a trading company, I have only finished products. An NGO or relief agency typically also has only finished products. Yeah, so we need to see what we need on a regular basis. Maybe we supply some school with writing material. How much do they need per month? And then we want to have the goods on hand at the right time. And then we have to see, okay, what are high value items? What are lower value items? Yeah, and considering the total relevant cost, how often do we want to order them? How many do we want to order at the same time? Yeah? Gets a bit more complicated if some items we order from one supplier and he has different items he will deliver to us in one lot. But in this webinar today, we don't have too much time to go into all details, right? So for this simplification, I hope that this is something that helps you, or that you get more curious about what can we do else about inventory management. What else is there to go into these formulas, or how can I reduce my inventory cost? Are there any further questions? All right, if there are no more questions at this moment, then I want to give it back to head office, to capacity specialists.